Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Main Street TV right here on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Dillon. I'm back again. Jennifer's still on vacation. I had planned to be in here with you guys yesterday, but it was New Year's, and silly me, I forgot the whole building was closed. But I'm here, and I'm going to go over some more videos that our editor, Julian Villarreal, decided to edit it up for us. This one is all based around cons, which is short term for conventions. And really, it's all just different conventions that we have talked about here on Main Street over the past couple of months. One of them is with Mackenzie, who is the Rio esports director now, but at the time he was here to talk about Final Boss Con. I'm actually kind of talking to Mackenzie and trying to get him to come on here to talk about esports. But yep, we are going to just go ahead and show you some more clips of that. Oh, and here's an ad from Belicio.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Belicio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Belicio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Belicio Foods is the employer. Foods.com/careers.
We have a very special guest in the house today, and we're going to be talking about the
Final Boss Con this year again.
So can you tell everybody who you are? You were here last year.
Yep. Mackenzie Halley, the gentleman, I guess, who started Final Boss Con. I got a lot of people around me that help volunteer and, do a lot of work with me. So we all just keep working it more and more. And this will be our third year out at Rio.
The third year. And if everyone's sitting out there, see, you were here last year and we explained it. But if somebody missed, so they're sitting there going, what in the world is Final Boss Con, right? So What in the world is it?
It's a pop culture, anime, video game, horror, board game, tabletop. There's our logo on there. It has a bunch of guests coming this year, too. Last year we had about 4 guests. This year, as you see, we have 7. Ranging from Power Rangers, Gentleman Who Wrote Night of the Living Dead, the original Mortal Kombat of Raiden, Johnny Cage, Dragon Ball Z characters, Majin Buu, Hercule. So brought some big people to Rio this year. So trying to cross all guests and all fandom.
So let's talk a minute about how Final Boss Con kind of came to be.
Well, we just had our baby, the April, and it was coming back to February, so sleep deprived. And I thought, hey, I got an idea. I like cons. We don't have, we have some stuff in the area. I was like, why don't we try one? It'll be, fun. And it was early February, and I thought of the idea, wrote some map stuff out, got with my wife, and I said, I'm going to take this to Rio and see. And I went 2 days later and had a meeting. And they were like, how long have you been thinking about this? I said, about 12 hours. They were like, you have all this in 12 hours? I said, yeah, I might have a compulsion. We went on.
I have an issue.
Right. I was like, but we turned everything in and it went good. And then our first one was in July. So that's how short of a time frame we had to be ready. And we said, okay. And we're hoping for 200 and some guests. And we had over 1,000 show up our first year. It was wild.
That is nuts.
Wild.
I'm a dum-dum when it comes to all this stuff. Can you kind of break it down for me and explain what people are going to experience at Final Boss Con this weekend?
I have no idea.
You don't know? I just plan it.
I'm leaving at noon. So we'll have, if you want to be there when doors are opening at 11, I suggest to be outside about 10:30 because it goes almost all the way to the outdoor basketball court and wraps around the building. Like the line is insane when we first open. But do park near to the lots next to that where Rio's doing more construction and building the Trinity dorms. You have to park in a couple different lots. But if you're on our website, you'll see the updated, where to park, where to go, and the only challenging one is if you park at Bob Brown's Farm Hall, you will find a parking spot, but you'll have to do walking up that hill leading up to the Lion Center, which can be pretty massive. Oh, the con.
Yeah.
It's good. But yeah, we'll have trivia, some cosplay contests, video game contests. We got 90-some vendors, 5 or 6 food trucks this year. A lot of event stuff going on. Check it out on our website. And you'll see everything. Certain things have just X amount of spots, so make sure you get in and sign up. We do have a lot of giveaways. Again, this year, when you come in, you still get a ticket for the raffle that you can put in for free to try to win. I think we have 30 or 40 prizes again this year.
Awesome.
But if you want to buy more tickets, you can for increased chances to win. It'd be a lot of fun this year too.
So the people that you're going to have as guests, let's kind of break that down a little bit.
Okay.
Special guests.
We got John Russo, who's actually returning from last year. He wrote Night of the Living Dead. It was great because we didn't have him on the bill yet, and he contacted Matt, and he said, Matt, why ain't I on the bill yet? Like, are you guys having me come back? And we were like, well, yeah, we didn't know if people would come back year to year because, it may hurt. Like, well, I got an autograph from him last year, and, I may get another one. But he contacted us like, no, I want to come back. We're like, well, we want you back. We just didn't know. So
sure.
He's driving in from Pittsburgh, coming straight in and staying, and he's coming to the dinner that we're having the night before. And
nice.
I was like, well, he's the best. He put, this is the best con to go to on the East Coast, and that meant more to us than anything. Because I was like, New York Comic Con's on the East Coast. I was like, maybe minus that one. But we were such a nice guy to come out and see. Paul there on the bottom middle, he does artwork for tons of arcade cabinets that you see through the 80s and 90s. Like, you saw his artwork, it was probably him.
Like Atari and games and all that. Like
Tapper and some of the Pac-Man stuff. He did a lot. Spy Hunter. Huge guy. Super nice. Talked to him on the phone. He's a great guy. He's really good friends. Cool. People next to him. That's Johnny Cage and Raiden from the original Mortal Kombat series. Like, when you see him on the game, that's them in the motion capture. So they're really nice. Rita Repulsa in the upper middle. She does, that's Carla Perez. She does Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers. From Power Rangers. So she's awesome. Big character from the 90s.
Awesome.
The two gentlemen on the wings up there, they're extremely good friends. They're coming from, that's a great graphic. That's Josh Martin. He does Majin Buu. And
now that one I'm excited for.
Dude, he's great. Talk to him on the phone. That's the mind-blowing thing. Talking to these guys on the phone, they just answer and act like I've known them forever. And I go, I watched you as a kid, like, played with action figures, and now you're answering
like
me?
geeking out.
Yeah, it's wild.
And he plays so many more than Majin Buu, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool.
He does, which I'm excited because My Hero returns the same day as our show, and he did Native off that. So if you go ahead and talk to My Hero about it, he'll know. And then his friend, Chris Rager, does a lot. He does Arlong and Hercule, Mr. Satan, bunch. I mean, look at that lineup.
Are these like cartoons? Like, I'm so dumb. I don't know.
These are all anime, so like Japanese cartoons that we get here, like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece. Trying to think of a bunch of other stuff he does. He's from a video game there next to the guy with the big afro, Mr. Satan. He does the guy from Borderlands. He does a ton of different characters.
He plays so many of the Dragon Ball characters you can think of.
Just even extras, and he's a great, nice guy. Talk to them as well, and that's like I said, just makes it odd being like
Chris Rager.
No, dude, he's great.
Sounds like a wrestler.
I'm gonna try to see if we can get him in the ring. He can probably do that too. We'll be surprised. We'll bring that next year.
Yeah,
we'll do that on the Friday night before anybody knows. No, we're excited. They're all great. We even got some people that like Sean Langley. He'll be there. He does amazing work stuff. Chris Penix. These are like, they're special guests. They're not out front on the bill, but they've done some
and they're local
work.
People.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Have done amazing things.
Yeah, and I remember getting with Sean the first time, and I met him a few times, and I was really excited to get him to the first show. I was like, because he's worked on different designs, his drawings he does, the Kryptonoid stuff. I said, Can you come to our show? And it was like getting a celebrity for us in that first year. And then he's back every year. And he even did a big picture for our VIPs that he drew himself and given it to all of them. So it's an exclusive print, which is awesome. And we appreciate
so cool.
that. 6 days, May 4th, starts at 11, goes till 7. It actually goes a little later, but that's just when the vending hall closes. Make sure anybody that's listening to get online, check our schedule, check our events, because there's a lot going on. The events are, like I said, only a certain amount can sign up for it. They're, some places only have 24 spots, 6 spots, whatever. And I don't want anybody to miss it. We had a lot of people because, it was crazy busy last year. And they're like, man, I missed this. I forgot this was going on. Make sure, grab a flyer, pamphlet when you come in. We'll have many more taped up because we don't want people to miss anything, because we know there's a lot going on. Before you know it, you get in 11 and it's 1:30 and you've made it halfway through the vendors. So you're like, time will fly when you get in there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Went to your last Final Boss Con.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh. Well, it was pretty fun. The best part to me was actually not really scheduled. It wasn't on the itinerary, but I'm walking around and I just hear a wheat, and I look behind and Corbin just fell. And
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. We got to put that on film.
I wish I had a recording of it, man.
You can probably get a hold of Jeff if it's in the gym, because there's cameras in there. We'll play it as a slip with a little "come next year," and it'll just be him going.
People, will there be stuff for sale, I assume,
Oh,
with
yeah.
vendors and all that? What are some of the cool things that people will be bringing?
We got Special Beam Design. They do resin coasters style, where it has like a card inside of it, or they'll have big giant cards where they can put like pieces of manga or anything inside to basically, just purchase. They'll have some Rita Repulsa ones. I'm going to look at your computer so I can remember all these. Those are all the sponsors, I think. We got great sponsors, tons of them. Sean Lane, Retro Rocket. The Retro Rocket will be there. They have tons of toys and video games. Give me one sec. There are 90 of them, and I just try to remember them all. There, Once More Feeling has cork trivets that have stuff burned into it, whether it's like Stranger Things or D&D. We got Burrito Princess will be there. She does pixelated arts, like the little perler beads that you iron on, and then she'll make keychains, earrings, pictures. People that self-publish horror books or novels, big mix of that. Prints, toys, video games. Trying to think of a lot more. People do their own art, actually, like own little designs that they'll have as stickers or buttons. It's a large mix. We try to make it so there's not a high crossover. It's bound to happen. Like, you might get some 3D printed stuff. Another person does 3D print. A lot of people have Funko Pops. But we try to be like, okay, let's not get more than 6 or 7 of that cross. Like, even if it's just, hey, they do 2 things, we'll count that as half.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure, everybody's making money. Everybody's making, people get more eyes on it. Because originally we thought about just being a video game convention. And then in our area, I was like, we got to get everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we're small there. We didn't know what we'd have. We thought 250, and I went, there's nothing wrong with specializing in one thing, especially if you bring a lot of those vendors in and a lot of people. But I felt in our area we needed everything, and that seemed to work out pretty well with the amount of people that came. So I was like, all right, let's make sure we have something for everybody. Moms, dads, grandparents came in and still find stuff. Little kids, people in their 30s that have children that they're like, hey, this is what I grew up on. I want to show my kid again. And, that mix is there.
That's fun. Little like, so dad can show the kid his stuff and kid can show dad his stuff, right?
Yeah, we got a good mix of that. They'll go up to the esports and be like, this is what I do. And the dad will be like, this is an Atari stick. And they're like, yeah. So it's cool seeing that mix and seeing people be like, I brought my kid every year. They've started to love it. They're now watching anime because they see these characters there. And, we've been watching them for 20 years. So it's been great.
Not quite 20 yet, but yeah.
Well, all right, never mind. We've been watching TV for 20. Well, you may not be either. I've been watching TV for 20 years.
But no, I know what you mean. I grew up watching Dragon Ball. It's actually a weird way I started watching it. It was just playing on Adult Swim one night.
Yeah, on the old Toonami.
Catching up with it, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was
really
huge.
got into it, and that's part of what got me super hyped up for this year when I saw you guys had 2 of the main characters.
Oh yeah, they're going to be great. I know. I told them we're going to look back in years if we keep, if everybody keeps having us. I said we're going to look back and go, that 3rd year lineup was gross. Just because of the mix with everybody, you're like, we're covering everything.
Yeah.
Like, live action, books, art, video games. So we're like, okay, we've looked into more people. We've had a couple people that couldn't make it this year that we were going to have. And we're already trying to look for next year. So if you have any suggestions, we're always open as long as it fits and, if it's a budget that we can figure out, just let us know. If you go to our website, which is this www.finalbosscon.com, you'll see the tabs at the top. It'll have something for vendors. You can still fill out applications. We don't have a spot, but it'll put you in the stuff for next year.
Okay.
It has the maps, the attractions, what the guests cost. And there's also another tab on the far right that doesn't have to do with Final Boss Con yet, but we actually have a Renaissance Festival coming September.
Hey, it's me again. I'm back. And this time I'm here with Alex. I dragged him out of the Telegram. He was busy working away, and I pulled him in here. That is because Alex and I have both been to Final Boss Con together. And I just wanted to bring on someone who, I mean, we're hearing Mackenzie talk about what's going to happen. This guy knows what did happen. He also covered it for the Telegram, didn't you?
Yes.
Yep. So you wrote up a nice story about it. You do that each year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alex here has been there each year for 4 years. So just tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I was telling you a little bit earlier, it's just ongoing labor of love by Rio Grande University. And the people there, Mackenzie Holly, pretty cool guy. He pretty much helps coordinate everything going on with it.
Yeah, Mackenzie's kind of the brains of all of it, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. He won't tell you that, but he definitely deserves to be recognized as such.
Yeah, I mean, he said that it was just like an idea he had one day, just talking about different cons, and that there hasn't been any local Jackson cons, and he's kind of the one who steered us into getting our own.
It is. It's a very good thing that we've got something like that there, just kind of shake things up. And he saw a niche and he found it and filled it very well.
I feel like you're one of the people that blends right into that niche. Like, I know you have like D&D earrings I've seen you wear. I know there's a D&D tournament there.
Yep.
Were you actually a part of that? Did you like play in the D&D?
No. They don't let me out of the basement much. So when I break my shackles and run off, then it just I like to be behind the camera and make sure that everything's good.
Oh, I can't relate more. I'm always behind the camera.
I get it. So you get it too.
I do. But yeah, I mean, Final Boss Con, I know it's got everything from D&D to, help me out here, I know they had a Smash Bros. Tournament.
Smash Brothers, they've got Magic the Gathering. And,
and they've got like a bunch of classic games, like a gaming area where you can play everything from Super Mario 3D to like all the 3Ds, 3D World.
They've just got stations of like all the old retro game systems and stuff that
old Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that I don't want to admit that I saw growing up or anything, but no, it's really just an experience. The gym's always packed with vendors and people. It
was very packed. And it's not just the one area. They take up one, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a cafeteria sort of area.
Yeah, like a cafeteria gymnasium.
Yeah, and then they take up another one that's on the entire other side, and that's just a bunch of different people, like voice actors. I mean, it's just a lot of voice actors and a lot of vendors.
Their guests and such is what's always I find really cool. And so they had a few voices from the original Mortal Kombat, I think, last year. John Russo, one of the writers for Night of the Living Dead, regularly asks to come back.
Yeah.
He apparently loves it. So that's definitely pleasant to have him back every year.
It is.
I think this year they've got one of the voices for Professor Oak from Pokemon and such.
Oh, cool. Is that like the scientist?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, the one that like sells you your Pokemon at the start.
Cool. I think so.
Is he from the video game or from just like anime or?
From the anime, I think. I've never watched it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have had you on here to kind of talk about it a little bit. I mean, like I said, I think it's interesting. And I just think the cons are fun. And I got a con. What would you call yourself? An extraordinaire?
I wouldn't call myself an extraordinaire at anything, but it's something that everybody, I think, should see. If you're into that scene, they're very inclusive, and they make sure that there's something for everybody there. It's very cool.
Well, with that being said, we'll go ahead and send it to Vinton County National Bank, and then we'll be back with Mackenzie to talk some more.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
This year at Rio Grande as well. We've actually already had 30-some vendors paid and sign up.
Is that new?
So yeah, we just announced that, I think, February. I think it was February.
Okay.
So yeah,
That sounds interesting.
it'll be.
Were there
good
giant
time.
turkey legs?
We hope so. We've been talking to a couple
Dude.
people. We already got like the acting guild to come. We've talked to a couple jousting people.
Wait, jousting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have fans do it because of insurance, but you
do
know, we just sign off and be like, okay, we'll have to get with Rick Jackson and be like, hey, they want to get hit. What do you want us to do? You want to have fun or not, Rick?
Yeah, Rick. Come on, live a little, buddy.
But no, it's we were stoked for that, and that's been going off pretty well. A lot of people are messaging us like, hey, I need more information for that. I need that, and I'm like, well, we're in the middle of con right now, so
Let us get over
when we're
one
done,
before we get to the next. Yeah.
But getting 30 people already, and they're not. A couple of them are crossover Final Boss Con, but where it's a Ren Fair, I'm like, well, having video games don't make a ton of sense there.
Yeah.
Or having like a guy who, people that do art would work and they cross over a little bit, but we got a lot coming there. I think we'll end up having about 55 vendors at that one. And that has already caught way more traction in 6 months than Final Boss Con in 3 years, which has been crazy. People love Ren Fairs.
The Renaissance Fair. I think it's because there's like a little bit of something for everyone.
Right.
The kids have fun. The parents have fun. Like, you may not like this, but there's going to be something there that you like. And
Takes you back a little.
yeah, it does. It's just, you can kind of, I don't know. It's almost like being somebody else or pretending or whatever. It's fun.
You know what I really liked about Final Boss Con last year was like, a lot of people do dress up and cosplay and kind of do pretend to be someone else. I mean, it's a little different than that.
Right.
That was one thing that really excited me because it was just such a crowd of people.
Oh yeah, that's probably massive
this year. But I mean, I still have time if I want to. But
there's money to be won
for costumes.
Oh yeah, for the cosplay contest you can do. We changed it this year. We have novice, journey, and master, and you can get online, see what qualifies for that. If you've never won a contest ever, you can be in the novice one. And then journeyman's like been in so many, haven't won. Master class is winning, but they all have money. They all have trophies, and we think that'll be a lot better than just age groups. We had like 70 people in the cosplay contest last year, which is insane.
There's a ton of people.
And I'm like, we might break 100 people in the cosplay contest this year. I was like, okay. Like, if you support any of the events we do and obviously the show, we hope this year you can see, hey, we had a lot of support from year 2. Here's guests and here's, more vendors, greater vendors, more stuff to do. If people were there and people have an interest, I told people, I said, we get 400 people that want to do a, thumb wrestling match. We're going to have the biggest thumb wrestling match ever. As long as we might have you put like a little costume on your thumb, but
I like that.
We'll still do it.
That would actually be kind of fun.
All right, sign it up.
I managed to go to his website and find a map.
Oh.
That's a big map. We fixed it this year. My wife realized the bottom vending hall from last year was upside down. So when people walked in, they were like, ah. So it's fixed now. But look at that. You walk into the first gym, there's the stage. There's tons of vendors in there. There's Sean. Esports, Torgs. Torgs is bringing the free play back. So if you go this year, they got like 18 old CRT, like box TVs with only old systems hooked up to them. So you can just play like Atari, Super Nintendo.
Dude, I want to get it
free.
Yeah, I want to play Atari again.
You got to come. It's there all day. You can just sit there and beat kids. Oh, man. Yeah. Paperboy. The noises back in were great. They had like 8, and you're like, oh, this is great. Duck Hunt had like 2 noises. Just pew, and then when the dog laughed at you. No one liked that dog. We got some blocked off areas. Please don't go to the pool. If you actually, I'm not going to say that. I don't know how to get into the pool. Please don't figure out how, but I really don't know how anymore. There used to be doors from the locker room, and I went in there and they disappeared. So that actually helps us so people won't go to the pool. Don't go to the trophy room. Any place is blacked out, don't go. In the back hallway, there's the D&D area. We got the bathrooms. A lot of people asked where the bathrooms were last year. As soon as you walk in, they're the only thing you can go to on the left side at all, right before the workout center. So those where those are. There's actually bathrooms in the locker rooms, too.
Now, wait a minute. Do I see something that says Dungeons and Dragons up there?
Yeah, that's the Dungeons and Dragons room.
Oh.
It's you go around the
It's a
corner.
plan again.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them going. I think there's 4 games this year. One of them's like 3.5 hours. We got another guy doing Badge Quest, which I've never heard of. You play as Girl Scouts that go house to house and sell cookies to get badges and points. I don't know if you fight people. I really hope you do. And he's like, I'm going to run this game. And I went, I have never heard of this. I was like, sounds great.
I can only imagine, like, roll the dice to see if he buys the cookie.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, I'm confused.
Guys.
But I'm going to go check it out.
I'm not getting that
No,
badge.
I forgot no Samoas. They're all out. But this is the best. But yeah, we got a lot of, there's all our vendors. Oh my goodness.
Look at all those.
What's crazy? That's actually down from last year. And the reason we did that, we took about 14 out because 1, we want all the people to make money. 2, there was walkways that were only 4 feet wide and people could not make it down it going, side by side. We went, that's not good.
Uh-huh.
So we don't want a crowd jam or, something to happen. So we moved some of that. So we're still at, I don't know, it's at 70 some plus all the tees, 21. That's 90 some. And some of them have a couple vendors inside of each other. So it may still reach close to 100 instead of 118 from last year, but it's a lot. A lot. And we're starting to set up on Thursday this year. They told us we could get in super early. So we were grateful for that because setting up 300 some tables takes a lot longer than we thought it did.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, there's a lot of free play tables, a bunch of people doing BattleTech games and free D&D.
lightsaber battles.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
There's you gotta think. I haven't slept in a couple days. We have coming from Charleston, the Imperial Legion is bringing their trained people that they have lightsaber fights and they do showcases and they keep records throughout time, and you can also go and take a class that they'll be teaching there about 3 or 4 times throughout the day. I've watched them online. They're good.
So cool.
The people that got are really good.
Does it
to
really
reenact.
look like it?
Yeah. Go watch them online. They had a show, I think, about 2 weeks ago. It started off their season. Now they're keeping records, and it's actually like, they can go compete. There's another group coming that they compete against throughout time. So it's good stuff. There's all the guests. They'll be on the left side of the bottom gym. Oh, I can say something that we haven't even posted yet because I was going to do it at the show. But every year we always have a big prize, and it was like a PS5 or a Switch. And we realized we had an arcade cabinet once. So, people like games, and there's some people that don't like games at all. It's not their thing. Yeah. Our big prize this year, which you can buy the tickets for, I think they're $3 or 10 for 5, something you'll have to check. But one person will win. We'll have the drawing at 3:15 right before a panel. And you win a $400 shopping spree because it's May 4th, $400. And it has to be used at the show. It can be used on autographs. It can be used at any mix of vendor booths. One of our staff will go around with you, and you can pick anything and everything you want at the show and basically win $400 worth of merchandise from there. So I was like, that'll be good. That'll give people like, hey, I just still encourage people to buy things before 3 o'clock because, things still may disappear if you're like, I'm just going to see if I win. No, I've watched $300 or $400 leather hats by Lockwood Leather go within the first 20 minutes. That's a big ticket item,
Yeah.
So he brought it the first year. He's like, I just bring it as a piece so people can see. He said the second person was like, 400? Okay, cool. And he was like, oh, okay. We've had vendors run out of merchandise at the show just because
that's awesome.
we are doing a Rio Renaissance Fair, which is basically medieval time style. And it'll be this Saturday from 11 to 6. We have about 40 some vendors and games. We have a king and queen that'll be there. You can get pictures. We have games that are free that you can win trinkets and trade them in for other stuff. Oh yeah, it's pretty fun. It's $5 to get in, which is pretty cheap, and then kids 6 and under are free. So
very, very cool. And again, that's this weekend at Rio, and not too far from here, so you have no excuse to not go. But so I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
I have never been to a Renaissance fair, but I know there are tons tons of people that really get into it. So can you kind of explain, like, how did it even how is it a thing?
Well,
how did it get started?
It feels like it came off a lot of, even Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings made it huge into that. So all that stuff's
you're one of them.
All that stuff's got so big, and now it's so much more mainstream than when I was in school. Like if you played or watched those, you're like, "Hey, stay over there and far away from me."
Yeah, you were weird.
Yeah. Now you're weird, but they're like, "Hey, that's fine." If freaking Joe Manganiello's playing,
we're more accepting of the weird,
right? It's just huge, Who was it? Brad Pitt and Troy looked great, so everybody went, "Yeah, I like this." So they just got into it, and that's what's made that's what made cons seem so much bigger ever since COVID happened, and now Ren Fair stuff's getting so much bigger because people just love it. LARPing is a lot bigger now, which is just me and you get foam swords and axes, and we basically fight. And if I hit your arm goes away. If I hit your leg, they have tournaments of that. So that's got really big lately, and people will actually like cast spells. It'll be a tennis ball and say it's fire. And we don't have that this year, but we've had 2 people ask us to do it. We're like, next year we'll set that up because we have the space. And I think it keeps getting bigger from that. Game of Thrones helps a lot with it. So
I could see that.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. Like I said, there's a lot of people coming out, a lot of vendors. Some of them we've lost, but we've replaced. So if you look online, you'll see an updated. The food trucks, we lost a few just because of the burn ban that was going on. So, but we still got 3.
Sense.
Yeah. But we still got axe throwing. We still got all the vendors. Yeah, that one's going to be awesome. We got tomato toss guy. He's had a Wellston tomato torture, and he said, he called me. He's like, "You got anybody getting tomatoes thrown at him?" I said, "No." He's like, "You do now?" I said, "You are going to willingly just let people hit you in the face with tomatoes?" He said, "For money." I went, "All right, you're in." So he'll be there. I'm hoping.
Wait.
I'm hoping Shockley comes and pitches like a 96 at him just to see what happens. That's what I'm getting afraid of. The baseball team show over, and he'd be like, "Oh." Like, "Well, here we go, Will. Have some fun, bud."
Sorry about the black eye, dude. Wait, okay. So you just glossed over a whole lot of stuff that I'm like, what? So let's break this down a little bit. So, number one, when is this Renaissance Festival?
It is Saturday, coming up here tomorrow, 11 to 6. And right now it's weather and
is it outside, inside? Or
it's
everything?
all outside. There's some shelter houses that have some things, but it's all outside. Vendors all have tents and stuff. So encourage people to still come. The rain says like an hour. It's just a sprinkle, and it fits in with the time anyway.
Sure.
So you're like, hey, we'll just walk around the mud. It probably won't actually be that muddy, but
for somebody that has never gone, would you be frowned upon if you don't dress up or you aren't? Participating in foam swords and tomato tossing?
No, I assume a lot of people come, just dressed normal. When I go to the Ren Fair up in Ohio, they, people dress extravagant. They look like a fairy, a centaur, wizard, barbarian. Jason from Friday the 13th, for some reason, I've seen a lot there.
Okay, wait, what
I don't know what. I have no idea. I really don't. I just see it all the time. And then a lot of Star Trek dressed up, which is funny because it's like a play on They Traveled Back in Time. You'll see that a lot at Ren Fairs, which is
lots of Spock ears.
Yeah, with the thing, and they'll have the scout, and it's just funny. And then you'll just have people dressed up normal, and all that is 100% fine. It's just coming out. It's seeing that old style. It's kind of feel more, and I think you'll get a feel more of it at the show because the signal's kind of spotty back there. So it really even puts in more of just even for that time when you're walking around looking that you're actually away from electronic. You're far back into that wood spot. You try to have that old music, the old feel. Like we basically have right at the gate saying, hey, when you cross this, it's not, 2024 right now. Like we're going to try to bring it back as best as we can. The Porta Johns kind of throw out 17th century, but you got to have them.
Hey, at least it's not just a hole in the ground.
Right.
We're
was
high
like,
tech.
we'll draw the line there. So yeah, all right. And the light stuff is not there. So it gives you that feel, just for that time. And like whenever we go to them, it's just so nice to see the old music being played. You hear all the noises, people laughing, plays going on. So that's why I think so many people enjoy Ren fairs.
So there will be vendors. What are some of the vendors that you have? Like what can people get?
We have some people selling incense, some people selling different foods like bread, meads. We have people that made like brooms into different designs. We have some people doing actual clothing that you can buy from the time, like they made it to look like in the old Ren Fair style.
Yeah, so like if you want to dress up, people
you can buy some stuff.
All right, I'm back again. That was the Ren Fair he was talking about. I actually visited that myself. Me and Corbin went. It was pretty fun, actually. I got I'm not even sure what it was called, but it was like, I think a hoagie or something. Like they had really good food there. It was a really exciting environment. There was so many cool, different, old timey and Renaissance themed different activities and people. It was just awesome. But obviously, Mackenzie was talking about the RenCon there. But as we had talked earlier with Alex about Final Boss Con, turns out Alex actually had some photos that I wanted to throw up. So Jimmy, go ahead and throw one of those up. Yep, that there is one of the gyms. And as you can see, there's different people and different themes just dressing up. And then there should be another one. That is one of the voice actors for Mortal Kombat. Looks like there may be two of them there. And as he had talked about, that's the older style Mortal Kombat. Then we should have one more. And that's just some people actually playing some of the games. As they said, there's tabletop, anime, pop culture. But yep, those are the photos. I just felt like throwing those on there since Alex had gone out and gotten them. But next up, we have another different con, and I'm going to send it to Holzer, and then we'll be back with that.
Fun.
All right. So could you introduce yourself to the guests and tell everyone a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today?
Absolutely. My name is Brad Bear. I am the organizer for one of the organizers, Ironton Wizard Fest, Harry Potter themed fan festival. And here in Ironton, we've been going since 2018. We started putting the team together in 2017 and building it out. And it's just grown every year. Now, we started in the Rone Theater and on some of the streets, and now we've grown to 8 different buildings downtown, and we're on 2 or 3 blocks, and we fence it all in, and about 7,000 people from all over the country, believe it or not, come in, and I fly in actors from the UK that were a part of the Potter series and folks like that. So it's a good time, yeah.
This is absolutely insane to me that in in our local area, we have such this ginormous event going on, and that people literally travel from all over the world to come and see this event. So tell us how this got started. Whose idea
Well,
was it?
funny enough, it's not mine, and I'm the Super Potter fan of the group, right? And so I have a friend who's a huge community advocate, and he used to do a festival down here for motorcycles called Rally on the River. And at one point, it peaked; it had 30,000 people coming and national bands and stuff like that. And so like a lot of things, it kind of ran its course, and so they ended up, and that was a fundraiser for Friends of Ironton, which is what helped save the Rone Theater and build a splash park in town for kids. And they bought street signs. They really just helped Ironton out a lot. And but anyway, he was like, I want to do a festival. I think the fall's a great time to do the festival. And I think this Potter thing is, because he didn't, at that time, he hadn't read any books or watched any movies. Like, this Potter thing, you're really into it. It seems really big. Well, maybe we'll do that. And I'm like, I know nothing about festivals. And so, yeah, let's, I'll sit in and I was like, I don't have any time to do anything other than meet. And, sure enough, within 2 meetings, everybody's looking at me going, okay, what do we do next? And it's like, and I can't keep my mouth shut. So that's how you end up kind of at the helm of these things. And that's kind of how it started. It was just, we pulled in some friends that were fans of the festival. We pulled in some friends that were fans of just doing something in town. And we put those things together. We started with no money. And it is the most handcrafted DIY fan festival ever. And at first it was because we had no money, and we still have very little money. But but we've kind of fallen in love with the challenge of creating on a budget like that, because it really forces you to expand. And it's like, so you have to work with what you have, right? And so we look at the themes and the settings and the characters and the stories in Harry Potter. And then we look at Appalachian culture, and we look at the Ohio River Valley, and it's like, okay, what fits together naturally? Let's start there. Well, luckily, in Appalachia, big kettles over open fire is just a thing for us. And so cauldrons over open fire works beautifully. And so in the fall, it's typically apple butter. That's never worked out because we're after apple butter season. But
Yep.
apple cider, spice cider, we did beans too at one point. We've kind of abandoned that. But so we were able to take those elements, and then it's like, okay, let's bring in some of the other elements. Let's really bring in the Appalachian crafts of broom making and blacksmithing, and that's kind of where we started. So we still have those elements. I call that Heritage Square, right?
Yeah.
And because it's an opportunity to teach people that come in some of our culture and heritage and where we come from. Intellectually, people may know what these things are, but may have never seen it in person, right, being done.
True.
And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, and so those are the kind of elements that we brought in first, and then we built out from there. And since we're super fans, I brought some of my other super fans in. We were able to make everything from scratch that was completely us. So we're not borrowing anything from anybody else. So we write our own trivia. We have 14 trivia games that run during the festival.
Wow.
We write our own escape room games. So we have 3 escape rooms. We have our own school. In the first year, it was like, hey, we should have a school. We got to have the sorting, all the kind of trappings that you would expect.
Like a wizard school?
And yeah, so it was, at first it was one of those things that's like, we got to have it. Here's a room over here, go do that. And I got one of my friends to say she do it. And so she went off and kind of put one together. That has grown to where now every 30 minutes a new class, or every 45 minutes a new class starts. And
Cool.
there's about 250 to 300 people in every single class. It's standing room only. And And the professors are from literally all over the country. One of our professors is from Georgia, and these are all cosplayers that get into character, and they really take off and make it their own thing. And it's kind of the thing of the festivals. Every area has become its own thing. So the city building, we have these massive Lego displays from the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Lego users group. And by massive, I mean the Quidditch field that they've built. It's all custom. And the Quidditch field they built is 5 foot by 7 feet, just for the Quidditch field. And then they built the Hogwarts Express train, fully functional, but not out of a kit. And it's like twice or 3 times the size of what you buy in a kit. And it runs the entire length around the village that they built. And they've really done great jobs. And so they bring that in every year. They take over the first floor of the city building. And I also call that our cosplayery, because we have 2 big cosplay groups that come in, Casohana out of Lexington, and then we have HP Ohio, which is one of the oldest Harry Potter fan groups in the country. And they host little events for their group all over the state. And so they come in and they run our sorting, and they do a show on our main stage in our main auditorium, which is kind of like Gilroy Lockhart dueling. I got to take a drink because my mouth is dry.
You're allowed. 'Tis the season.
Sorry. Yeah, right. So, but anyway, so they have a dueling show, and they bring it, and there are just cosplayers from all over the country that come in to meet, and it's grown to a point that, and this is what I always say: we're not a Harry Potter festival. The themes are there, obviously. We build the playground, you come and play. We're not allowed to use Harry Potter because it's not ours, right? But everybody else can use whatever they want. And so it's a fan festival. We're a festival for the fans of the Harry Potter series. And yeah, and so in that, it's a fan festival for fans by fans. So and that's really taken on. I used to say that early on because that's what I wanted it to be, and now it is. And so there are different groups that come from all over the country and have their own meetups. There are things that happen in the festival I don't even know about. A lot of things I don't even know about, because little mini events that are popping up. I know one thing that's happening this year. They're calling it a Niffler Run. And I've learned to support whatever I can when I hear about things, and don't touch it, right? It's like,
Right.
you guys do you. This is what we built this for. You come and
Yep.
play. But how can I help? And so I caught wind online of this thing being formed called the Niffler Run. I don't know what it looks like. I think it's kind of like a group of people dressed up like Nifflers running through the festival. And I was like, how about I buy you about 2,000 gold coins? And I said, if you're doing a Niffler Run, I want this thing to be so messy with gold coins that I'm going to hate you on Sunday when we're cleaning this up. Because they scurry about and they drop stuff all over the place. So that's got to be part of it. So little things like that are going on. People use it, like there's one group that has 80,000 followers on Facebook. It's the Weasley's Magical World or Wonderful World, and it's led by Arthur and Molly Weasley cosplayers out of the Chicago-Iowa border. And so 3 years ago, they came on a lark just to see what Wizard Fest was. And they fell in love. And so, because when you get to the festival, you feel the heart of it. Anyway, so they told a lot of their friends. And so now their friends come from all over the country, and this is their meetup spot for at least one time a year. And then they also meet up down in Universal Studios, and they meet up. Last year, they all went, a group of 15 of them went over to London and did the UK experience together. But yeah, the group is about 80,000 strong.
Wow.
And you're right. It's wild that we have a festival here that attracts like that.
Yeah.
And I think that, so are you in Chillicothe or Jackson?
We're in Jackson. Mm-hmm.
Jackson. You're in Jackson. Okay, good. First of all, not far away, just right up the road, right?
Correct.
And the weather's good, so everybody come down because it's going to be great. But our small towns are always looking for, what can we do? Because it's easy to roll over and say, It's over. The good old days are behind us and all that. I think the thing that I've loved about Wizard Fest is from year one, we've proven that that dynamic isn't true, that literally the only thing that's lacking from success in at least events in our area is heart and imagination. You bring those two together, it doesn't matter about money,
Sure.
it will resonate, and you have to have fun. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's hell on earth, but you got to have fun with it, right?
Yes.
And and the devil is in the details. If you take a moment and you stop and you say, well, that doesn't make sense to do because of some logistic reason, you're going to lose. What you have to say is, oh my God, that would be great. How do we do it? And that's
Yes.
the phrase in our group is, how do we do it? We don't say we can't do it. Never, never say you can't do it. It's how do we do it?
Yep.
We couldn't put 1,000 candles floating in the ceiling of the Ronay in year one. And trust me, we tried everything. The thing that got us was we couldn't figure out how to change the batteries when they went out. So, so instead I found these curtain strings of lights, of these LED lights,
Sure.
and we hung 30,000 LED lights in the ceiling, and it cost us $800. Well, and that kind of was like, we needed, each year I'm like, what's our showstopper? What's the thing that people come in that they can't expect, and we have it in some form or fashion? And so you read the passage about the Great Hall, and you hear about the starry sky. Okay, well, we can't do the starry sky. At least at that time we couldn't. We could now, but and we couldn't do the candles, but we could do the twinkle lights. And since the ceiling was kind of blacked out anyway, it's like, okay. And people walked in, and it's like when you just get overwhelmed by that number of lights hanging over your head.
Yeah.
And so that was our showstopper. And each year we've added to that. This year we've added. The summer I bought a Ford Anglia, which is kind of like the Weasley's car, the flying car. I bought a Ford Anglia, and I bought a motorcycle and a sidecar, and we just had them all painted, and so they're ready to roll, and they run. So we're going to start.
Cool.
Well, I'm not going to share that part, but we've got we've got surprises. But yeah, it's awesome, and we're able to take the downtown, which has a lot of empty spaces, right, from businesses leaving or just buildings being renovated or something,
Sure.
and
All right, and that was someone on the show talking about the Ironton Wizard Fest. That was a pretty fun event I heard about. And it's me again, Dillon. I'm here to promote next week's Main Street TV week. And I just want to give you an idea to come on and check out who we've got. On Monday, we will have Mark Carmen. He's always a blast. And then we will have the Jackson City Library. And then Pete Wilson to talk about news. So we will have 3 different guests that day. And then on Tuesday, we will have Mark Wood. Everybody knows Mark Wood. He does the fancy rope tricks and makes balloon animals. So he will be on. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Melissa Morgan Boggs of the Haslett Mansion. And then on the latter half of the show, we'll actually have a Haslett Mansion tour that Jeremiah filmed, edited by Julian Villarreal. And then the news. And then on Thursday, we'll have both the Morrows, Max Morrow of the Jackson High School boys basketball. And then we will have Dan and Pete, Dan Morrow, and then Pete later for the news. And then on Friday, we'll have Scott Kilgore of the Jackson High School bowling team. And then he will have the bowling members come on following him. And then we will have news. So, an exciting week of Main Street TV. I encourage you to tune in and look into it. Jennifer will be back. But for tomorrow, we'll have another best of highlight. I believe this one is, help me out, Jimmy, best of, I'm trying to remember what it was. I know it was edited by Julian Villarreal. Best of, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But I promise we have a best of. Tune in for it. It's an exciting one. I know that it's always exciting when we take a look back at Main Street TV and make another highlight. Julian's very good at editing them, so I encourage you to tune in. And I'm going to go ahead and send it out with the Telegram news.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegram.news.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegram.news.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegram.news.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegram.news.com.
Check it out.